So a few days ago, you had Prince Phillip, that is the Queen's husband, died at the age of 99. I was, while I wasn't feeling well over the last week, I, saw that happen. It's amazing these folks live to be, very old. They really do. And, I can go down that rabbit hole why that happens, but I'm not in this video. But the story we're going to talk about today is about Jamaica. Now, Jamaica is one of the Commonwealth countries. We talked about that before in another video. So the Jamaicans were pretty upset with their Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, after he posted a message offering condolences for the death of Prince Phillip on Friday, April the 9th. Now, they said the Jamaican leader has said on Instagram, "We are deeply saddened by the news of the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Phillip, Duke of Edinburgh." Okay. They said he said that his keen interest in scientific and technological research and his commitment to the protection of the environment is what he also added about Prince Phillip. But people in the comments section had to show up and let that shucking and jiving Sambo know about itself. I'm reading here, one person says, "Are we really sad though?" Another person said, "We are." Another person had called him a colonizer. As I'm looking at the screenshot here, they said, "No one cares. Jamaican women dying every day." They said, "Sir, you speak for all Jamaicans, and trust me, we are saddened is a lie." Another person wrote RIP to DMX. He said, DMX is more important than this. Now, Jamaica was declared a colony of Britain, and understand, Britain was one of the biggest slave masters out there. Okay, they enslaved our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, and this colony was in 1866. Then it became independent and full dominion status within the Commonwealth in 1962 under a constitution that retained the British monarch as a head of state. Now, let me talk to you brothers and sisters that's in these countries that's called the Commonwealth. Why are you still having this relationship with your former slave masters? How are you independent, but yet you want to be part of a Commonwealth? That doesn't make sense. Who does that? Now, they said for years, Jamaica's prime ministers have entertained the idea of replacing Queen Elizabeth as head of state. Now, remember, we reported about Barbados getting rid of her. We talked about that a few months ago. Now, they said in 2012, their former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller said it was time for Jamaica to cut ties with the British monarchy and declare itself an independent republic. And you remember anything about the Windrush scandal they had in the UK, where they went to Jamaica after World War II, begging black folk to come rebuild their country. They rebuild their country and everything. Now they want to start deporting them back to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? Classic, white supremacist move. Now, the other prime minister said, "I love the Queen. She's a beautiful lady. And apart from being a beautiful lady and a wise lady, a wonderful lady, but I think the time has come." Now, they said, speaking in 2016, the current prime minister said that the Queen should be replaced as head of state, but he didn't want to cut ties with the Commonwealth. Okay, so this is the thing. The people in Jamaica don't want to hear that crap no more. They're sick of y'all with that. They want to be on their own. They say, what's the part of being part of a Commonwealth? We're not getting the benefits, right? So another user here has said, "We are not deeply saddened." Say, "Some of you colonially conditioned and subjugated people might be saddened by the loss of your," and I quote, "white prince." It said the only purpose Phillip served was to walk behind the Queen and say the most racist rubbish. It said that is how history remember him. His racism is a public secret. It said everyone knows it. It said the UK trying to make light of his racism and call it gaffes or memorable one-liners. It said please provide details of his contribution to our nation building. It said it is if you distribute a response written to you by the monarchy. It said did the GG give you this to read? That's what the person read. Okay. Now let's talk about that. It says that in 1984, it said while accepting a gift from a local Kenyan woman, and Kenya is one of those Commonwealth countries also. Now, any of the nations in a continent of Africa that the British colonized, they're still considered Commonwealth. So make sure that even 2021, you brothers and sisters that's in Kenya, I know you're fighting about the IMF not giving them a loan, and what you're right, they shouldn't give them a loan. Make sure you fight for those severing of the ties with the Commonwealth. So Phillip told a sister in Kenya, "You are a woman, aren't you?" That's what he told a sister in Kenya back in 1984 when she was giving him a gift. It said Prince Phillip asked an indigenous performers during a royal visit to far north Queensland with the Queen in 2002. Now, you know, the indigenous people of Australia and New Zealand, all those areas were black people. OK, he asked the indigenous woman, "Do you still throw spears at each other?" That's the Prince Phillip they're celebrating. Now, when Harry and Meghan came out talking about the racism in the royal family, you thought that he wasn't a part of it? OK. Now, it said in 2003, it said he told Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was wearing a traditional clothing, "You look like you're ready for bed." Seriously? This is what this dude was saying to all these different people. And notice the pattern here. He's insulting black folk. That's who he's insulting globally. Now, they said the prince's long history of problematic statements was summed up by Birmingham City University professor of black studies, Kehinde Andrews, on Friday. It said he was a throwback to old school racism. It said painting him as benign, cuddly uncle of the nation is simply untrue. It said that with other British Caribbean colonies, people of West Africa were transported to Jamaica and enslaved under brutal, oppressive conditions to work on plantations. It said in Jamaica, many enslaved people worked on sugar plantations, like a lot of my ancestors, actually. My ancestors come from sugarcane plantations in Louisiana, according to my research. It said as sugar is a key export for the colony. And it said after the British Parliament's 1807 abolition of the slave trade, transporting people in bondage to Jamaica after March 1st, 1808 was outlawed, the slavery persisted on the island until 1838. OK, so this guy has, you know, said all kind of craziness to black folk. But they say, it's just him. No, it's not just him. That, you know, what Harry and Meghan said is nothing but the truth. That royal family is white supremacy central. It all started with them. OK, and you really think that they're not that way? And then you remember when Harry and Meghan had you know, talked about them, all of a sudden, you know, Prince Charles just found some random black person to be with him. You know, Prince, what's the other one? William. He had some random black woman with him. I'm like, where are these black people showing from all of a sudden after the interview? Like, why do you sit up there when you get called out for your racism? You find some pet black person to go find to say, look, I'm not racist. I'm with him. Seriously? But that's what they like to do, you know, and some of y'all get fooled by that. See, they can't be racist. Look, you know, they wouldn't be around them if they wasn't racist, right? Come on now. Now, for me, I don't have no feelings toward anything when it comes to their royal family at all. I mean, I understand what they are. I understand the history. I understand where they get their money from off of the slavery of my brothers and sisters. That's simple. I have no respect for their institution. I don't respect them because they didn't get anywhere by hard work, by pulling themselves up by their bootstraps or anything. They got it off of lying, stealing, raping, pillaging, pedophilia, sodomy. That's all where they get their stuff from. So I can't respect that. I respect no one to get money that way. If that's the case, I might well respect, you know, criminals or organized crime. I might well respect them. How is it that organized crime is so bad, but yet the biggest organized crime out there, you know, through this royal family? The 13 colonies were British. You got to remember that. The slaves were brought over in the slave trade was by the British. I ain't got no respect for them at all. What are they royal to? They ain't royal to me. And their brothers and sisters in Jamaica have every right to call them out. See, that's why I'm loving the younger people today. I said the younger people in the Caribbean, the younger people on the continent, y'all are going to be the ones to turn those nations around, because a lot of your leaders are shucking and jiving Sambos. They are. They be all the queen. You know, what? Like, what are you kissing this woman's butt for? She ain't doing nothing for you. Nothing. I mean, you need to do for yourself. Be self-sufficient. That's what you have to do. And I'm glad the younger people are calling this mess out. Well, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about, situation in Jamaica. And you know what? When this guy comes up for re-election, or if he can move around, y'all get him out of there. You don't need nobody having affinity for those people. You need somebody that's going to want you to be truly independent. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store. In search of a financial opportunity to pay off student loans, a young Black American woman moves to South Korea to work. As the author, Bootsy W. recalls culture shock and fun adventures in a country far from home. She's also faced with anti-Black racism and featureism, quickly learning that white supremacy is practiced not only by whites, but by those that are categorized as people of color. Based on her 10 years of living abroad, the book Ago Igo compares and contrasts Korea versus the United States on subjects such as code, communal living, racism, effective protests, global alliances, warrior class, music, political correctness, health, aging, money, and the coronavirus. This blunt memoir is uncomfortable, humorous, and educational. Help fight propaganda and mainstream agendas by picking up a copy of Ago Igo on Amazon.com.